The brand new legend in Apex, Catalyst, completely shakes up the game and is a terrific character that's going to cause a big shift in the meta. Today's video will cover plenty of tips on how to effectively utilize this legend so you can hit the ground running in Season 15. First up, Catalyst's passive ability is called Barricade, where she can reinforce doors to lock out enemies. Teammates are able to open and close the doors, and when Catalyst barricades a door, it takes 4 kicks to knock down versus the standard 2. She can also barricade a location where a door has already been broken, however the new structure will only take 2 kicks to break. When utilizing this ability, it's a great way to buy extra time and give Catalyst time to breathe, maybe between third parties or when a team is pushing. This ability also pairs very well with other defensive legends in the game like Caustic, since you'll be extremely difficult at pushing when you're in a building with your abilities, pairing with those other defensive legends like Caustic, Watson, Rampart, etc. One cool play that you can make with Catalyst is trapping a team indoors to a Caustic ultimate. You can have Catalyst wait to allow an enemy to walk indoors with Caustic waiting inside. Then Caustic can drop his ultimate gas grenade as Catalyst barricades the door to prevent the enemy from escaping. Now that's toxic. One major key takeaway from her passive ability though is that it does not affect anything other than melees on the door, meaning arc stars, fuse knuckle clusters, Maggie's wrecking ball, ramparts, Sheila, the rampage. All those abilities and items can still knock down those barricaded doors instantly, meaning if you see a legend that has a good ability to counter a barricaded door, then be prepared when they try and move in on your position. Another effective way to utilize this ability is to barricade doors while you're trying to flee. If a team pushes you while you're indoors, as soon as you're running away from the enemies and exit the building, immediately barricade the door to buy yourself some time as they're trying to chase you down. You're allowed to place down the passive ability twice, so that's a total of 2 different doors, and if you use it again, then your first door goes back to normal. Moving on to Catalyst's tactical ability, Piercing Spikes. I think this ability is an absolute game changer, and you're gonna have to fear this ability when you do notice you're gonna have to fight a Catalyst in game. Think of this ability as a mix between an Ashe tactical and an aggressive Caustic trap. The ability is far superior to the Ashe tac because it has more speed, 2 charges, and you can use 3 at once, plus the ability can slow and damage multiple enemies and not just one. A really cool way to utilize the spikes is while you're healing behind a door, you can turn 90 degrees from the door and throw the ability while you're mid-heal. You can use the tactical while you're healing, so you can throw it at your feet. It will go underneath the door, which will prompt the enemy on the other side to back off the door. This will give you much more space and allow you to push that enemy. The tactical will erupt into spikes when enemies are near, and the tactical does 15 damage per second and slows enemies. When enemies approach that tactical, a core will be exposed and they'll have to shoot it out. Now, just like Caustic is immune to enemy gas, Catalyst is immune to other Catalyst traps and walls placed by enemies. The cooldown is 20 seconds, so you're gonna have this ability really frequently. The patches will last until they've been destroyed, activated, or retrieved by pressing down on the D-pad on your controller. So just like Caustic or Rampart, for example, Catalyst can pick up her ground traps to have a charge and replace it in a better location. Since you're immune to your own piercing spikes, the most optimal way to utilize these is during the middle of a fight, since you can place down traps next to doors to try and slow enemies that are coming inside, and then you can also try and use ferrofluid while someone is blocking a door. However, throwing this ability at your feet is huge in close range engagements. If you can bait an enemy into stepping onto your spike, you won't have any slow while you're engaging that enemy, but they'll be free to take down because they're extremely slowed. You can also push enemy locations and throw the fluid down where you know enemies are healing or where they might retreat, and you can ambush their cover since they're trying to heal from that location. This will allow you to control more space, which will allow you to push even harder since they're stuck behind cover or since they have less optimal space to play with. Personally, I like to start a fight by throwing down a tactical around my cover where I feel like I'll be pushed if I take too much damage, and I keep 1 charge for any enemy movement. The tactical around me will help me to buy time if I take too much damage, or if I try and retreat, it will help to hold off the enemies and give me a little extra time. Now you can throw the tactical about 75 meters as well, just in case you ever need to yeet this thing as far as possible, which is about the distance you can chuck ordinances like arc stars. Also make sure you're using this ability to deny revives by chucking it at downed enemies. You can also pair grenades or other abilities like the Horizon ultimate to really make sure enemies aren't going to get away from you, and you can pair it with arc stars to really do a lot of damage. Catalyst's ultimate ability is called Dark Veil, which raises a wall of fluid, and enemies who walk through it will be slowed and blinded. The wall is about 55 meters long and 25 feet high and lasts 15 seconds. The cooldown for her ability is 2 minutes, and scanning abilities, you know what, we thought that they wouldn't apply to the other side of the wall. This is still a little bit in question. We don't know if there's some bugs that are leaking through with maybe Bloodhound scans, but Seer is a direct counter to Catalyst, as his ult will detect you, and enemies can see and shoot through your wall if a Seer ult is down. Maybe this will be changed in the future, but for now, Seer can be used with his passive heartbeat to detect you through the wall. And I haven't seen Seer able to use that tactical on you through the wall, but the ult will reveal you. It almost seems like the ult is bugged at this current state. Even PvP revealed on Twitter that a Bloodhound scan got through the wall. We'll just have to wait and see if any updates happen to fix this. I do still think the ultimate has a lot of versatility. It's a good ultimate ability. I recommend running a shotgun like a Mastiff or an SMG as your secondary, because the best way to play her ultimate is similar to a Gibby bubble, where you can throw down the ult to try and disperse enemies and then peek one side of that veil with a massive shot, strafe back into the darkness, and then follow up peeking from another angle. You're going to be extremely difficult to see and unpredictable with this tactic. I highly recommend using the ultimate this way. Some other cool things you can do with the ultimate wall actually is you can have your teammate, say Seer, scan the enemies, and then you can raise your wall up and not allow for those enemies to see you while you can still see them. Also, if you or your teammates ping an enemy and then you throw the wall down, those enemies will actually be highlighted through the wall. Or if you have a teammate on the other side of the wall and they ping an enemy, you'll be able to see them and shoot them through your wall. Use the Dark Veil for buying yourself time for escapes and rotations. The Veil can allow your team to have time to revive a downed teammate, since enemies won't be able to push through without being exposed and slowed. If you're being chased, barricade the door you're leaving and then throw down the wall. The enemy chasing you probably won't be able to scan you, and they will have no idea which way you ended up going. The wall can be useful in some scenarios for rotations, to rotate safely through an area without cover, since enemies won't be able to see or shoot you or tell exactly which direction you went. Some really cool legends to pair with Catalyst are legends like Horizon, Fuse, Caustic, Seer, and Revenant. Horizon and Fuse can both utilize their ultimate abilities to influence or push enemies into your wall, your ultimate, to slow them and cause them to panic. Caustic is obviously good with holding down locations with Catalyst's help, and other defensive legends like Watson will work as well. And then Revenant is an interesting pair with Catalyst because you can barricade the Rev Totem location and push safely and slow enemies with your fluid, and then when you're pushing those enemies as well, you can stop them from fleeing with your ultimate wall. Seer can also be used with his ultimate ability paired with your wall to be able to scan enemies and shoot them through your wall. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I would really appreciate it if you dropped a like on the video and let me know in the comment section below. How would you rate Catalyst? Is she S tier, A tier? Let me know. Also, I would appreciate it if you guys subscribe to the channel. I will have plenty of season 15 content coming. I have a lot planned, so trust me, stay tuned. And if you guys want, I can do a more in-depth guide on Catalyst later on. Just let me know in the comments. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. I'm Grizzy, and I'm out. Peace.